All right, welcome to the latest edition of the FPL America podcast. This is David Smith.
Travis Hoig.
Brian Chesko.
Gentlemen, it was an active week this week on Slack. Brian, you would know if you actually checked it out, as you should, but that's okay. We all have our faults.
He can't read.
Travis, we had a video message from League Diane.
I don't even want to talk about this.
Former
it makes me
champ,
so mad.
League champ, mini league champ,
She won
Diane.
last year, didn't she?
I think two years ago.
You won
3
last
years
year.
ago. Brian won last year. And League Diane came on immediately, and she said, guys, I like listening to the pod for your FPL advice, but your cookie advice is trash.
It was hot trash.
Hot trash. Quote.
It wasn't
hot
just trash.
So,
it was very specific
listen,
trash.
Diane, we love you.
You're
Everyone's
wrong.
allowed to your opinions. I can't disagree more. Maybe you got a bad batch, but
No, there's
the
no such thing.
gluten-free Oreos, and I also noticed I don't think they were double stuffed.
Yeah,
I think they were the original.
It doesn't matter. I haven't had the double stuff
It's
ones.
fine, but I'm just telling you. It's all right. Again, Diane, salute to you. You've won the league. I have not. Okay, you know what you're doing. I do not. Maybe you should be on the pod. We probably should have Diane on the pod.
Yeah, we talked about it.
We should have had Diane.
I'm less motivated now though.
Why? Oh, because she called us hot trash.
Oh no, she just called.
She might
our
like
Oreos hot
Peeps,
trash.
though.
Yeah,
She
but listen to
didn't comment on Peeps.
If you personalize
That's a good point.
the comment, then
Yeah, you're
don't take
internalizing
it-
things too
don't
much.
take it personal.
I'm looking out for the Oreos. You're looking out for yourself. Come
That's
on.
fair. Okay,
She
good
didn't call
point.
you trash.
You're right. It's just more gluten-free Oreos for
I don't
us,
know, man.
Travis. If she doesn't like it.
I love
right.
gluten.
I mean, I know we're all in one. We're all at one table. It's all one podcast. But I didn't say that I demand the top of the list is gluten-free Oreos.
That's right. You're right.
I'm fine with gluten-free
You're right.
Oreos. I would never buy gluten-free Oreos with my own money. My first
I
choice
got it.
Oreo would be double stuff
Regular.
regular
regular.
Oreos,
Okay.
and then the variety
All
of
right.
other flavors like we talked about.
Like Post Malone, which you got those though, right?
Didn't get those.
Oh, okay.
I
It's like
did
salted
try,
caramel and something.
I
That
did
sounds
try.
delicious,
There is
actually.
I
a
can't remember what
there
it
is
was.
a
Some kind of
Post
mixture.
Malone flavor. It's like a wild berry flavor of poppy. The
Never heard of it.
Poppy's horrible.
the probiotic
Yeah,
soda.
I've tried Poppy. It's not good.
I don't like it.
No.
Now that maybe that might
And I'm a
be.
spark-
Were
Sparkling-
you expecting?
I'm
a sparkling water
Wait,
guy.
So do you like normal poppy?
No, I don't.
I
think,
tried the
think,
cola Poppy because
That sounds terrible.
it wasn't good.
All right. So also
Because it's supposed to be a soda,
yeah,
a healthy soda substitute. I wanted to give it a shot.
don't
I
know,
tried
man.
it. It was
Probiotic
It's gut,
sounds.
it's gut health. Look, the point is, it was not for
Kombucha.
me. I also am not really interested in having that. Like,
All right.
I'm off soda, generally speaking, except for glass bottles. So glass bottle Coke,
Yes.
glass bottle root
Mexican
beer,
Coke.
especially.
Yeah.
But but I'm not even really buying that either.
Pure
I'm
cane
not
sugar.
really
Fair.
ever drink. I'm not
Okay.
drinking soda. It's mostly coffee and
Yeah,
water.
I get it.
But if it's
But-
got bacteria in it, you'll drink it.
I'm just saying I tried the Post Malone. Just this is a Post Malone flavor podcast now. I didn't.
Yes.
I tried the Post Malone flavor of Poppy, but I did not try the Post Malone flavor of Oreo. This is very important for everything we're going to
Yeah,
discuss.
Diane,
Before we dive in-
Can you try the Oreos for Post Malone? Let us know if we need to eat them. If you say no, we'll back off. If you say yes, actually, if you say yes, we'll probably eat them.
We'll
'cause we'll
probably
like
will
them.
Yeah, that's right. Because she'll say they're hot trash. Just an update. We mentioned it last week. Brian's daughter and my played against she and her team played. This is not a middle school girls basketball podcast, although some of you might think it is. I
Couldn't
could
blame
wax
ya.
on. We had a game tonight. We're not going to talk about the game tonight, although we lost. But we played last night against Brian's daughter's school. My daughters used to go to that school. I actually 2 years ago coached on the 5th and 6th grade team. I actually coached a lot of those girls, so it was kind of fun to go back and play them. And a very close game, 28-24, and a good game came down to the very end. And our team was able to sneak it out. But we do play again. We'll have another update next week, next Tuesday. We play at our place. We played at your place, Brian, last night.
Oh,
We turn around a
Wait,
week
you weren't
later.
there?
No, I was
No,
there.
no.
I
Oh,
just,
it's
No,
like you were
I just didn't
confused.
know. I didn't realize it was.
Yeah, we're quick
The reverse
turnaround.
fixture is
many
already
games.
there.
Quick
So many
turnaround. We
So
play
do you
again
guys
this
do
coming
aggregate
Tuesday.
scores on that, or
I don't know. We might. Maybe that might be a fun bet there.
no? That we can't do that.
No.
'cause
It's
You're
middle school
both gonna
girls
bet
basketball.
for your kids. No,
It's a
that's
game.
I about had
that's
an
how
aneurysm.
you don't have a problem.
I almost had a stroke. Not from the refereeing, but
Mm,
my players not doing what I wanted them to do.
mm.
And normally that's not the case, but I was about to lose my mind a few times. But it was hopefully it was good entertainment for all
Sounds
those
like-
who watched.
Sounds like coaching.
Yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to say. That, Brian. You know what they say when the players don't do what the coach is trying to get them to do. It's
Coaches-
usually an indictment
coaches-
on the coach, not the players.
I know.
So,
it is facts. It is
less
absolute
laps.
facts. All right, let's get to what we're getting to. As this fantasy week was interesting because I don't know if you had a couple different players, and maybe Brian, maybe this is most weeks. If you have a couple different players, they end up being mattering, and I lucked up and had the right players this week.
if you have
Having
a couple,
Cody Gakpo this week was
Yeah.
massive, right?
there's a very specific subset of players most weeks.
Gakpo's ownership, although
This
it's
was
growing,
this was an
it's almost at
interesting one.
18%. I'm guessing
Gakpo did it for you.
he is one of the yes, he is. He is the most transferred in player overall at the moment.
Good for you.
500 almost
Yeah.
600,000 transfers
Yeah,
in.
Good for you.
Even
That
more
was a
than-
good call.
Even more than Clivert. Clivert.
Cliver's second at the moment.
If you went to Clivert, you were happy. Although
Yeah.
as you're watching a cheaper option soar past him on the points in that same game, you probably might even have been rethinking that decision. But whatever, he's second most transferred in still this week. But point is, if you went for him, you were rewarded, and that doesn't always happen
does not.
for hot ticket items. You know how that works in this game. What we're talking about tonight, the reason why we're even here is that it's double game week 24.
Is that
Sound
what we're here
the klaxon.
Sound
Yeah,
the alarm.
That's exactly it. Is there an organ, a loud pipe
I've got
organ that you
nothing.
could blare?
I
in
could
the
do a lot of
background, please?
things, but we've gone low budget.
Okay.
We don't do sound effects anymore because it means that someone's got to stay up and edit that. And since Dave's computers keep breaking, that means it's me, and I'm the laziest out of the three of us. So sorry.
You are easily the most skilled.
Sorry. Well,
Not
that's
even close.
Definitely
All right.
not true.
So, all right, let's just dive into the schedule. Brian, you want to
Well,
breeze through it real quick, and
yeah.
then
So what we're going to talk about?
look on the big board there. Everyone, look on the
You're
big board.
pointing.
Yeah, everyone can see.
It's for my benefit.
Look on the
It's
on the
for, it's for
board,
my benefit.
right there. Oh,
The
look,
point is,
Right there.
Ben Krellen,
It is.
friend,
That's good. You
friend,
can see it. That's good.
friend to all fantasy Premier League players for many years now. One of the top managers in this game ever, and also extremely useful for planning
useful.
and spreadsheets.
wicked
and,
smart,
and
Ben
whatnot.
Krellen.
He actually put this out there. This is days and days ago, but just it's relevant immediately. We could have gone over this before. I don't care. Right now it matters because you've been planning for this for a while. I think this is a pretty straightforward double game week, but Ben Krellen's reminder of kind of what's to come. There's 15 game weeks remaining in the fantasy Premier League and the Premier League season, but the fantasy Premier League season. But just to say, you're planning from here on out, depending on what chips you've used or not used. Lots of people use their triple captain early on Holland. Probably went mostly fine if you used it at that,
Early enough,
in
yeah.
those early
Yeah.
games. And if you use it on another game week, I'm not really sure. Hopefully it paid off for you. I think they said one person had their triple captain on Clivert this week.
No way.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty sure that was an official FPL. The
Bold.
one
If
person.
one person would have had triple captain on Django, Ouattara,
Yeah.
that would have been something.
That might have been him. But it was something like that. It's like that
Wow.
every week. There's always some
One
it's always
person,
Like, yeah, it's
who
like
triple captain's the perfect guy.
who are the three people that captain whatever?
Right,
Right. Evan Nielsen when he scored like
Yeah.
a 12 or something, whatever.
Right.
Anyway, this week we talked about it last week, and just to say, but overall, Ben Krellen's advice is that the ceiling for double game weeks in general this season is lower than it has been in previous seasons. So he's even saying now, temper your expectations for double game weeks. Period.
Really?
Yeah. There's only going to be likely only 3 double game weeks this season. One is right now, game week 33 and game week 36. Okay? He's also saying, give me a second. There's the scrolling. If you have all your chips, what you have to decide is you have a triple captain, you have an assistant manager, which, as Dave, we looked up,
we'll talk about
right.
it.
So the assistant manager takes up some of your time.
Right.
You have a bench boost. You also need to try to figure out, like, you have a free hit, probably. So did you use your free hit already? Most people probably didn't. If you did, you're
Right.
stupid. Really, what were you thinking?
Right.
But hopefully it worked out for you and it wasn't stupid. But either way, you have a blank game week coming up in potentially in a few weeks. So game week 29, I think, is a blank, and game week 34, I think, is the other blank game week that's yet to come.
Okay.
There's a small chance. It's probably not going to happen. A small chance, depending on what Fulham and Spurs do, that Fulham and Spurs could double next week, depending on outcomes of the EFL. If Spurs get to the EFL Cup final, and if they finish,
on track to.
if they finish in the top 8 of the Europa League group, Spurs and
Which
Fulham,
I think they will.
Spurs and Fulham will have a double in 25. So you have, I'm not sure how many people want to go crazy on Spurs assets right now, but you probably think a little harder about it next week if it happens. That won't be confirmed until the deadline of this game week. So
we won't know.
We won't know that until the game week 24
it's
deadline.
already started.
Right. But he's saying that there would be a provisional announcement a day or two before the deadline. So, whatever. It's all, but this, again, it's contingent on outcomes here. Double game week 33 won't be announced until game week 30 or 31.
Okay.
So 6 game weeks from now, you'll know about double game week 33. So the FA Cup quarterfinals, that will determine the blanks in game week 34. And you'll know that before the game week 30 deadline. So basically, like, there's so much information that's down the road. Most of the league is still in the FA Cup. I mean, Arsenal's still in, right, Dave?
Yeah. No.
No.
Thanks. Shots fired.
No,
Fine.
they're not.
That was pretty clever of you.
But
What a turd.
Like, in the 4th round, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Don't be sorry.
One of
Fine.
Everton and Bournemouth, Chelsea and Brighton, and Villa or Tottenham. One of each of those, one of those in each of those matches will for sure be knocked out by the end of the 4th round. Plus whatever shock exits might happen.
Sure.
But, those are the Premier League teams who are playing each other in the quarterfinals. Double game week 33 announced either shortly before or shortly after the game week 30 deadline. The point of all of this is, like, there is, like, you want to use the assistant manager chip, and presumably you want to use your triple captain, assistant manager, and your bench boost in a double game week. It's usually what we've been trying to do that, so that affects definitely how you use if you haven't used your second wild card yet, have you?
I have used my second wild card.
We talked about
Right,
last week.
But that's the only chip I've used in the second half.
I'm just kidding.
What's weird is, like, I'm looking at my fantasy page right now, and maybe they just run out of slots. I'm only seeing the free hit option and the assistant manager option, but I'm like, I haven't used the other chips. Like, surely if I wanted to play a bench boost, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how I'd click on it at the moment. I literally don't have that option, but I have not used it. So I'm a little, again, maybe they've.
Is your screen zoomed into like 150% or something?
I can see mine, so I'm a little bit worried about you.
What?
Yeah, mine's working.
It's
fine.
right at the top.
Yep, looks pretty.
So again, thank you.
I think it's punishment for something.
Seriously.
It's not a big deal coming from a podcast like this, but thank you, Ben Crellin, for all the hard work that you do putting in all this stuff. The guy, it's almost a job for him. Maybe it is. For him.
I'm hoping he's making money because the information he puts out, it's unbelievable.
So
the more of us that keep ripping him off, the more money he's going to make, right? I mean,
we
that's how it
can't
works,
give him more credit.
I'll
probably could,
cash app
but-
him $5 or something like
All
that.
right.
So the point of all of it is like how are you arranging this? And the reason why you're asking is because we said last week, I mean, based on, and I think it's pretty easy to find, there's plenty of people who have the opinion that this double game week is not great. So we've already kind of talked ourselves out of a triple captain on Salah or another Liverpool
Right.
asset, because I don't think you're triple captaining a Everton player.
No.
So that's the
Die,
question.
maybe.
Basically, the question is, if you still have a triple captain, like that's just first order of business. If you still have the triple captain, when are you going to use it if you're not using it on this game week? Here's your for example. All right. In game week 33, double game week 33, if and when it happens.
Right.
Even in that game week, the objectively good fixtures that game week are Arsenal at Ipswich. All right.
Pretty
So
good.
that's a single, that no matter what, that's
Sure.
a single game week. Liverpool is at Leicester. That's fantastic. And then Manchester United is home against Wolves. Okay. Good fixture, but it's Manchester United. How do you see that? Whatever.
Yeah.
And then West Ham is home against Southampton. So that's your
Existing.
bottom of the table versus whoever. Then you have a bunch of toss-up fixtures. Villa is home to Newcastle. Brentford is home to Brighton. Crystal Palace is home to Bournemouth. Everton is home to Manchester City. So you could say maybe you prop that one up into the very good fixtures, but whatever. It's
I like the Arsenal Ipswich one too.
And then
both those are good.
Fulham is home to Chelsea. Those are kind of I don't know. That's probably fine for the attackers. You're probably not too jazzed about any of the defenders or goalkeepers in those games or whatever. But the point is, if all that, depending on which of these heavy hitters advance, if you're adding, basically all you could hope is that something gets added to Liverpool. Something somehow Manchester United gets another fixture added in.
Right.
Because then you're well, I know that one of those is going to be the best possible fixture you can have
The other one's icing.
plus something.
Yeah.
Where
Double stuff.
yes. Where this week, I think we all it seems like as close to agreement as we've ever gotten on out of people analyzing this stuff. Bournemouth and Everton have been good.
Yeah.
These are not great fixtures.
This is a Bournemouth team that easily could have been looking past Forest, looking towards the Liverpool match, and they stomped Forest 5-0.
Yeah.
That was
I mean, that is wild. The best
incredible.
defense in the league, and they stomped them 5-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, it's two. We already, you already know this. It's two away fixtures against two, a top defense, the top defense in home games,
And then a derby.
and then a game that
Liverpool historically usually doesn't score that many in that fixture. I'm not saying they can't, and they might come out and do it, but that game always seems to be way more cagey than it should be.
Yeah,
if
that's
Salah
fair.
scores a goal in each game, no one would be surprised by that at all.
Correct.
Yeah.
But then that's probably depending on what the scores are, that's a minimum of a 16, probably, maybe on the real low end. That's the thing with Salah, and I was going to say this later, but at this point, a goal and no bonus points in a game for Salah is a blank. I mean, you can get better results from, I don't know, a lot. I mean, he got outscored by two players in the game this week. So I'm just saying, I feel like it's one of the highest ceiling players in the game playing probably two of the worst possible games in a double game week.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't look good. I agree with that. But to
But
that
if-
end, we're
but if
kind of
you-
speaking out of both sides of the mouth there, right?
if he finishes with a 14 in the double game week, I mean, who's going to complain about a 32?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you triple captain him, You're not going to complain. You're already not going to
Well,
complain
and
about
I
it.
guess that's the
42?
point.
I'm saying
is-
42, 28 and plus 14.
42 triple
42,
captain.
yeah.
Look, if I get anything in my triple captain, I'm happy. Typically,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the one chip I miss on the most.
Right.
Yeah, that's the hardest one to hit. So I guess that's where I'm trying. That's where I'm coming from. Ultimately, is if the possibility for double game weeks is limited to approximately 3, which is pretty easy, I think, to evaluate and determine
Yeah.
based off of who's in what competitions, right? And when they're scheduled, because that's all relatively easy to extrapolate. Then why would you not triple captain this week, given that your other opportunities, you're only going to have 2 other opportunities potentially, and we're talking about a free hit probably for one of them, and maybe a wild card or a manager chip
free
for
hit
the
on
other.
the
Probably
maybe.
free hitting, depending on how many
Because
teams.
you're not going to free hit this week, are you?
No,
No.
Like you wouldn't want to do. There's not
you-
enough. There's not enough
You'd only,
doubles,
yeah,
right?
that's the thing.
So-
if you're saving your free hit, you'd want a free hit in one of the 2 blank weeks.
Which is
So-
yeah, right. So I guess that's the point. Is ultimately you're not going to run a triple captain on a blank week. You're not going to run a triple captain on,
Even a good
you're gonna
fixture.
right? Right? Like you're. So I don't understand why triple captain isn't a given, right? On this week, and it's
Somebody asked
and pick Salah, right?
again,
It's gotta be Salah.
not my original,
Gakpo.
not my original thought. but
He traveled to Eindhoven. So
Somebody
he's
just,
gonna
I
he's
thought
probably
I
gonna play
just saw
tomorrow,
it.
which means I don't know if he'll play both games.
I thought I just saw somebody say that he did not.
He did,
Okay.
and Slot came out and basically said it was mostly sentiment because that's who we bought him from, was PSV.
Oh, right. You
So,
talked about that.
Will he play? I don't know. Is he there and did he travel? Yes. Does that matter? Maybe not. It's a homecoming for him to some extent, so I don't know that it'll affect him
I
all
think
that
he'd
much.
get a
if
bigger
anything.
applause if he subs on.
Subs on, subs off. It's kind of how it is, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. Gakpo is I guess more up in the air than Salah. Salah is going to do something in one of the 2 games, probably, right? Like especially given that he didn't travel. He did not travel. He's resting.
Oh my gosh! It just
I think he plays both. I think he plays both games.
no.
and
I'm not.
They're gonna
questioning
need and they're
that.
going to need goals in both
it
games.
just doesn't feel like
They're
a good.
going to need goals in both games. I mean, you're
right, Brian. If he
like,
gets,
I'm
if
not
he
good at
scores in
this.
each game
I'm not good at this
and
game.
gets a 14, then you
Yeah.
might as well use it.
I'm not good at this game, but I'm like 80% positive I'm going to triple captain Salah this week.
Yeah,
I just-
all about
oh my
FPL. Find them all caps. All about FPL. All also one word on X. Their
X. You have to say it like that.
X.
Thank you.
Their chip strategy combination that you can find it. Basically, they have 5 options kind of for remaining chips, assuming you have most
Okay.
or all of
Everything,
them.
All right.
yeah.
4 of those are triple captain game week 24.
Wow.
The only other triple captain a combination that they are offering is triple captain game week 36, but that's for them it's using assistant manager chip this week, using it right now. So the reason
That makes sense. Like
So-
I could get behind that. I could definitely get behind that
I think it's that
instead of a triple captain.
I
this
think
week.
it's the unfavorable fixtures, but then it's holding out hope that say like so then another scenario, game week 36, for example, Manchester City is at Southampton in game week 36.
yeah.
So if that's one of your 2, surely relegated by then Southampton
Probably.
against Manchester City, who
We'll be
we
fighting for
assume
Champions
is-
League spot.
and chasing.
Yeah.
They're all chasing the
Oh, yeah.
league.
Oh yeah.
So, that's
Arsenal will have won by then, probably.
Yeah.
Well,
That's true.
technically they're in. Well, they're tied. They're tied. They got Newcastle on goal.
But, like, the
Chelsea
really-
and Bournemouth is right behind them.
like the really good fixtures in
It's
36.
such a good race.
Brentford is at Ipswich in game week 36. You're probably not going to advance terribly far, and who knows what they do in the FA Cup. I'm not sure.
I would argue
But, like-
argue a free hit is more valuable than a triple captain for a single player.
Yeah, that's true. It might be.
Probably.
You might be able to
Probably.
navigate, and if you save it, if you can navigate the blank week, if you get a kind of lucky, you can navigate it with 10, 9
Which happens.
players, which we do.
Which
We've done all
we've
the
done
time
a lot.
before.
Yeah.
How many last year? Like if you used a free hit in game week 29, the other blank week last
and it
season, it
got
was
you nothing.
awful. It was like
It was really bad.
what, a 14-point average or whatever.
Yeah,
last
it was
week?
crazy.
So either way, but game week 36, you're obviously not. I don't think you're using it that week either. Liverpool's at Arsenal. No, sorry, Liverpool is home to Arsenal.
Yes, I
in
was
game
going
week
to say, 'cause
36.
we've already played that
right.
Arsenal.
So you have not ideal. That's another not ideal week
Right.
for
either team.
For either team.
Probably.
Yeah.
So you might not even, you're not probably not a week. That's obviously a week where if you have Holland back in your team by then, you're captaining Holland.
Agree.
Against Southampton. So or whatever city
Right.
asset you've got.
Foden, probably.
So that's the thing. Like all of the scenarios, they're not like it's made me honestly, like putting it in that perspective honestly made triple captain Salah this week way more tempting than to me. I always want to wait. I feel like I always want to wait on it, and this was the thing where I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to wait. I don't know what player you're going to have better than him. The only reason why I'm tempted not to is because I'm chasing. Like that's the biggest thing, and that's why even this week it was like not captaining Salah probably helped you. So likely, if you picked almost any of the other like hot commodities this week, you probably doubled your score compared to what you got from Salah. So that's what I'm saying.
Well,
like
I don't know. Palmer didn't net. Isak did. Isak got you 13, right? So
yeah, Isak was the big one. Isak, honestly, the reason why I was kind of put off of him was because they said he was battling illness late in the week.
still scores 2 goals.
So I mean, honestly,
he's in the Golden Boot race, man.
yeah, he's awesome.
There's several definitely in it.
All of that to say, like the chip strategy here, like
All right, so
because then I think when you looked at the assistant manager chip.
Yeah. I finally am now educated on assistant manager chip.
There's no way. Like people are using one of their Arsenal spots this week for the double game week
Right, so
on slot.
Let's officially discuss. Are we ready to move to that assistant?
Yeah, we can move on to that because that's part of this.
Right.
Part of this thinking.
I feel
here
like
it's going to bother
that helps
you.
with the
I think we've,
strategy. So
have you covered everything you wanted to cover from Ben Crowley?
Yeah, I just wanted to go through just to say you will know within the next 6 weeks. You will have a very clear picture of you'll have already gotten through. You'll already have known whether there was a double game week for Fulham and Spurs. You'll have had blank game week 29, and you'll have the announcement for what double game week 33 and blank game week 34 are going to look like.
Okay.
And then you'll probably have at least some idea of what game week 36, what double game week 36.
All that leading into, and again, I'm going to discuss the assistant manager chip because this is new to FPL. So. And up until this pod started, I didn't fully understand it. Actually, right before the pod started, I didn't fully understand it. I do now.
We asked some questions last week that we didn't know the answer to.
Yes, and now I know the answers. All right, so assistant manager. Number one, when you select it, that chip is active for 3 weeks. So when you select it, you can't change any. You can't use another chip during those 3 weeks. That is the huge caveat here, and that's why Ben Crellin's saying this is because if you select it over, I guess you might get lucky if you select it over like a match week 34. If there's a double in 34 and a double in 36, it would be 34, 35, 36. Again, I don't know if that's possible. If only I was listening to Brian closely.
Then you can't free hit.
That's correct. You can't free hit on those.
You can't bench boost.
You can't You cannot use another chip when the assistant manager chip is active. Now, also, let's say you already have 3 Liverpool players in your team. Let's say you have Trent, Salah, and Gakpo at the moment. You can't use Arne Slot if you wanted to because he is the 4th Liverpool player. So the manager counts as another player from that team. So you're going to have to ship one of those out if you have 3 Arsenal players, if you have 3 City players. I currently have 3 Newcastle players. And so if I wanted to select Eddie Howe, I would have to sell one of those.
And you'll have to use a free transfer to do it. if you have to move another player. Your first time selecting a manager does not
count for a transfer.
as a free transfer, but any
if you
movement
change
after that,
if you change
does.
him,
yeah.
which you can change the assistant manager. Here's the other thing: the prices have been revealed. I'm not going to go over them all, maybe some of them, but they range from there was 4 price categories. It's 1.5 pound dollars. It is 1.1 pound dollars. It's 0.08 pound dollars and 0.05 pound dollars. So
0.5,
that's got to come. Yes, thank you. Yes, 0.5 and 0.8, not 0.08.
You're good.
So
that's what you are right now.
understood. So when looking at it at the moment, if I go to my transfer page, guess who has 0 money in his budget? Unless I make a transfer this week to create money to bring in the assistant manager, I cannot do it. It's going to cost what the prices that I just said. Now, also, those prices for the managers aren't going to change. Those are locked prices.
Right. Okay.
So
based on transfers,
and they won't change throughout the season. Those are set now, locked prices for those managers.
So you can plan accordingly.
So
that said, I gotta acknowledge this. When Dave was reading through this, you backed me up on this. He was not happy about this, and it was a little bit like
I was not happy.
It was a little bit like Hansel trying to get the files out of the computer in Zoolander.
Yep.
Files are in the computer. He was just was not great.
I'm reading over it and I'm like, oh, I mean, nothing is like, I'm waiting for some little bit of good news now. There's no good news. So again,
hot right now.
once you activate it, it now occupies the next 3 weeks. So do you want that? I mean, if you activate it at the wrong time and your team for your manager doesn't, let's say I select Tottenham, then Tottenham blanks in 29, I either now have to use a free transfer to get a manager in because I've already activated my assistant manager chip. All of a sudden now, because a blank happens in 29 and I activate in 27, and now all of a sudden the manager for the team that I wanted isn't even playing. So if I want to get those points, I now have to use a free transfer on them and create the money. I'm just saying it gets wicked complicated. I'm surprised that they sprung this on us, FPL did, in match week 24. It just feels like it's now wicked rushed because most everyone has saved most of their chips. Here's the other thing, too.
I think it's spicy, and it's been too vanilla for too long.
Me and you, I'm okay with adding something in. It just feels like this is a lot of info because it occupies 3 consecutive match weeks. I have already used my wild card. There's a part of me that's almost glad there's one less chip I got to plan for, right?
Yeah.
So, like you guys already said, so the assistant manager is going to take up 3 weeks. Then there's still free hit, bench boost, and triple captain.
If you still have
your wild
obviously.
card, that is now 7 match weeks out of the last 15 that you're going to have occupied in chips.
Yeah.
If you have your wild card. I have 6 because I've already used mine. I played it in match week 22, which has catapulted me to the first in the mini league at the moment. Just wanted to throw that in.
We'll cover that later.
But my point being is, every other week, if you haven't used your wild card, every other week you need to be considering. Otherwise, you could easily end up in a bad spot where you're like, oh crap. Like Brian said, you really want to save your assistant manager chip all the way to the end when match week 33 could be a good triple captain or a good bench boost or a good free hit?
How many people are going to hit the assistant manager the last 3 game weeks because they have to?
Or they might not be educated on it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't till it felt like today, it was probably up earlier where, like, if you go to your FPL page, you go to the transfer page or your pick team page, it says assistant manager chip, view manager tips. And then all of a sudden I was finally able to read everything and understand all the rules. So I am torn. I get it. The case for now, because of all this information, and like this very smart Ben Crellin said, this might be your best time to use triple captain. I still don't think I'm going to pull the trigger, and I hope it doesn't bite me. But then again, I feel like I never get anything out of my triple captain, so it just feels, I don't know. There's a part of me that goes, put it on Pickford. They're home to Leicester, home to Liverpool. And who knows, maybe he saves a penalty and he gets a 10 in one game and a 7 in the other and turns out a 17. Like,
I mean, that's possible for a lot of guys, but yeah.
It just, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I can't figure out. It's just the Liverpool matchups don't feel great. But Brian, like you said, even if you get a goal from Salah in each one, you're still going to feel pretty good about it with a 14.
Yeah.
And that's if he doesn't get bonus
and
points.
that's just
Scored
no
in
bonus.
one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I-
And if
that-
it's
I
a
would think
and
it
if
would
it's
be
a
good.
goal and an assist in one and a goal in another,
then it's a
then-
really good triple
then that's a
captain.
fantastic triple captain.
Think about it this way though. I mean, ultimately, if he shows up and plays at least 60 minutes in 2 matches, he scores a 4 for the game week. I mean, triple 4 is not terrible for a triple captain when your alternative is potentially hitting it on a normal game week and missing. Right.
That's true.
And
It's a good
I mean,
point.
look,
I mean-
you can find plenty of accounts out there that have the parade of all of the worst all time. The felt
triple
like
captains.
shoe in,
Yeah,
triple
pretty bad.
captain
I feel like
options. of the
Ibrahimovic got me a few years ago.
Love that guy.
The big one was there was a Sadio Mane year where he was seemed like a clear cut choice. I think he got a red card in like the first game or whatever. Got like a -1 or minus.
He may have put some studs on Ederson's neck or something like that.
Oh, man.
Was it Dennis, one of the striker for Watford? Do you remember that
yeah.
a few seasons
Yeah, yeah.
ago? It was a season where
Emmanuel Dennis, I think is
he was.
Yeah.
It was another one where Watford was. He was doing great. Watford had good fixtures or whatever, and the same thing. He finished with like a -3 or something that week.
Oh
like there
my
was like they you can find all of like the historically bad triple captain game weeks of previous seasons. People kind of compiled this.
Speaking of bad, I've figured out why Dave couldn't get the files out of the computer. So your chips only show all of
On
your
the pick
chips
team
only
page.
show up on the
I
pick
didn't want to
team.
admit that. I figured that out.
On
In
the
meantime,
transfer page,
I was
you
on the
only see the
transfer
ones-
page, and I'm only
Yeah.
seeing 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what
There
the
it
heck?
is.
So then I went to the pick team page, and
Just
sure
to be
enough, they're all
clear,
there.
it was
I didn't want to
old man
admit,
trying to use a
thank
computer.
you
That
for,
was the problem.
Thank you for acknowledging that in front of the world. Appreciate that.
A middle
Travis.
school girl basketball player would have figured it out sooner. Just
I needed
saying.
one of my players to figure that out for me, no doubt. All right. So
all of
with
that,
all that information out there, now that we fully understand,
there's not really any
assistant
That's
manager.
the thing. There's not really. It's
Hold on.
We're all learning.
A couple other things.
What?
So you get points for
done.
wins,
Now he's got a
points
couple
for
of
draws,
things.
right? For the assistant manager. If you pick a lower table club and they beat someone above them, you get more points than you normally would.
But it's by a certain number of places above them, right?
5 places ahead of them in the table,
The upset
right?
bonus, right?
Yes. So you get a bonus if that happens. So in other words, if you pick a team,
So FPL is
yeah.
actually labeled at least
if
by
you
game
pick a
week who
Crystal
the guys
Palace,
are.
like so Crystal Palace.
That's why.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like it's tough to really take a lower club. 5 places is a lot. I kind of wish it was 4.
Well, I think that's exactly why I think that's why the choice, if you were going to pick somebody.
Ange. It's always
Well,
Ange.
no, the choice, even if you were going to
That
activate
actually
it
isn't
this
a bad
week,
call because they're so low.
But
You-
everybody,
you
it's
would
not mine.
choose-
It's a lot of people talking.
you would
about that.
choose David Moyes right now.
Yeah.
You would choose Moyes, not
On the-
Slot,
Yeah.
because
100%. Yes.
they're home to Leicester, so you can get a
Right.
result there, even if it's
Potentially,
not the
yeah.
bonus.
Right.
Depending on what happens with Liverpool, I mean, obviously there's the chance for.
I doubt they win, but they could draw.
I don't
At
know.
Palace
I think they got a chance at winning
I
for
don't know,
sure.
Travis,
Palace
that's
isn't
crazy.
far enough
It's there.
ahead, but that's a fixture that they can
Yeah.
get something out of, and then they're home to Manchester United, which
Yeah.
is
I like
does
the
meet
Moyes
the
call.
5-team threshold.
I love
that's-
the Moyes
so
call
that's-
for this week.
That's one that I mean we just
That's
said it.
interesting.
If Spurs were to, you find out that this week that they double, or if you find, if you get that information and you activate it next week, that would be home against Manchester United.
which is like
Way higher in the table.
coolest.
I don't know if it's
No,
five.
I don't think
I don't
they are.
know
It's
if it's
not.
5 spots.
Not right now.
They're at Ipswich. That's doomed to fail.
Yeah.
And then they're home to Manchester City, but game week 25, you'd be adding another fixture in there. So you'd be getting a double game week. And I would also like to say, if you look at
That's if they
that's if they double.
don't get beat up by Liverpool at home at
Right.
Anfield.
Ange is
He's got to be on the low side, eh?
He's 1.5.
I wonder if they set those prices, but at the start of the season.
Ange is
It had to have.
1.1.
Okay. So
So it's not based on current.
I think it is
so
because he'd
Spurs
been more if it was early season.
Spurs are
Yeah,
for
you're
sure
probably right.
they're down Solanke until March. Vicario's not back, but the goalkeeper
Richarlison is.
He's a man possessed. Even if who knows how good he is. Vicario, the replacement for Vicario has been fine. I mean, he's got some spirit. Udagi scheduled to be back in 2 weeks, like mid month.
Okay.
So so you're getting Udagi back. Brennan Johnson, who's out injured right this second, he'd be on track to come back then. Jed Spence, who was playing extremely well before he got injured, he's scheduled to come back beginning of February, so by maybe even this weekend. And then Van de Ven and Romero, both on track to be back.
Yeah, I think.
I also want to say this.
So
another piece of weird information here. Not completely weird. I was just shocked to see this. So this match week is going to be the longest match week in history.
Wait, what?
The Everton-Liverpool match. So all these matches are going to finish on the weekend on February 1st, I think. When Liverpool and Everton play their second match of this double game week, won't be till February 12th.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. The match week will stay open until, well, I guess once the games start, the next week starts, right? But the match week won't close until February 12th.
Interesting.
When Liverpool and Everton play their second game of the double match week.
Love it.
Which means so then it probably won't be till February 15th. I'm saying this because if you did play the Spurs chip, the players that Brian was just talking about, it literally gives them almost 3 weeks to get healthy before that next Spurs game.
Yeah.
When they might be available, and then Ange could be selectable, even though it's a steep 1.1, but that's a perfect value there.
Yeah.
And look, we won't be the only pod saying this because Spurs are never this low in the table. They're are they 17th? I just had that up.
Low, though.
They're not 17th. They're 15th in the table, but that's ridiculously low. Mm-hmm. And they're never like this. And that is a team that, if and when they get healthy, can absolutely. If Ange is still their manager and or whoever their manager is, I can't believe he survived this last week, but he did. So, maybe they go on a run. Injuries has been bad.
It really is.
That's a good call, Brian. That's a good way to look at it, and good injury notes on Spurs there.
No, but I mean, I think that's where. How do you want to play it? Do you want to pick a favorite? Do you want to use You want to use a slot for 3 weeks?
I mean, you could argue that
on a
Tottenham,
team that's a top team.
No,
I don't
think so.
I don't want to do that. But
again, it's the first time we've all done this. So there's a million strategies out there at the moment.
Right, and somebody's gonna use this. Someone will use it in a normal game week on I don't know the
Glasner
on the Wolves manager or whatever,
we don't
and
even know
it'll
his
work.
name.
Yeah, Wolves manager is going to get somebody like a 40 one of these weeks.
February 16th is Spurs' next match, and again they're home United at Ipswich, and then home City. Not the greatest, but Brian, you were saying they could have a double added in there, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you find out that the double actually, by the end of the week, you find out that there is a double, it's at least an option. That was one of the reasons why, though, if you did it right now and you activated David Moyes to your assistant manager, 3 of the next 4 are home games for Everton.
And Everton plays good. They're stingy at home.
Right. So
people rarely go in there and smoke Everton at home and light up the score sheet. That they might lose the game, but it's rare that they're doing that. I mean, Spurs did score 3 on them. Forest scored 2, City scored 1, Chelsea and Arsenal both drew 0-0 at home.
They have some.
United scored 4 on them. That was but everyone else is either.
Well, that was
one.
That was unlucky because
Villa scored 3 on them.
They let in that first one, and then they let in the second one. But the third one was really unlucky, and then the fourth one went in. And I mean, really, if the ball doesn't bounce the wrong way 4 times, it's a draw.
I'm excluding the first 4-week Everton. First 4-week Everton was horrible. They've been bad most of the season. I'm just saying, like you said, Brian. 3 of the next 4 are at home. If you activate it this week.
I'm sure somewhere in there too. I mean, there's going to be a run of 3 fixtures for somebody, and I think it was Crystal Palace. It was also a darling choice here, just because of how low they are in the table. If you can find 3 matches in a row, they can get a result. From,
you've
from
got
teams that are five spots ahead of them.
I mean, or even just looking at game week 28, 29, and 30, it's Ipswich, Newcastle, Southampton.
For who?
For Crystal Palace. That's
Yeah.
Two.
You don't hate that.
Two games.
You
two
got
games
one
they
shot.
should win
You get one
and
shot at a bonus.
Yeah, one bonus game. So
I mean that.
I think
seems
it's.
like
I think you're. Yeah, you can chart it out a little bit for sure, just based on color coding
Jeez.
as you look at it. But I think really
love that color coding. It's just really valuable and accurate.
I wish you could just pause the chip. The fact that it's active, that's the big monkey wrench, is it is active for 3 straight weeks. And you can't
it's too
use another
complicated
chip.
as it is. You don't need a pause function. Just embrace the change, David. Stop moaning about it.
I mean, do
I'm
you
a owner.
do you
I like it.
can there be a West Ham turnaround? Can Graham Potter
Yeah, maybe.
get them to turn around? I mean, that's a team that can, who knows what kind of results they can.
Defensive
get
solidarity is they need to be more solid in defense. And if he's going to do anything, then that would be it, right? Because he's not going to find goals, right? Graham Potter is not a goal scoring.
Emerson
coach,
was
right?
scoring this week.
Yeah, that's what you want. Your defenders to be carrying your team with goals. It's certainly possible. He's capable, but I honestly, again, I go back to what I said the other day. I like Graham Potter. I think he's a good coach, but I think he's overrated because Brighton's system has proven to be the real winner here. Mm-hmm. Not Graham Potter, not De Zerbi. It's Brighton.
Yeah,
some truth in that.
I've already said it once, so I'm just saying the same thing again.
Oh,
all right, well. Cool. So we talked about assistant manager, Chip. We talked about a lot of different things. Brian, you wanted to talk a little.
So just final thought.
Yes.
Yes or no? Triple captain Salah this week.
If
you say 80%,
I'm like 80%.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm like 80%. Yes.
You're 50-50.
I don't think I'm 50-50.
You're more like 30-70. No.
I don't think I'm doing it yet.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason why I want to so badly. Again, I'm chasing.
I'm looking
to do something different.
I don't think I want to.
If all the pundits are saying don't do it, I'm gonna do it because it means all the sheeples are not going to, and I have a better chance of actually hitting on a guy that would be a normal like if I triple captain when everybody else is triple captaining on the same guy that everybody's triple captaining and targeting,
you don't get anything.
I don't get anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to do it now, and then I'll have opportunities in those other moments to use other chips.
Your point is valid though. If he gets one.
Your favorite guy, FPL Olympian, Liverpool's double game week 24 fixtures aren't good enough to be using a chip on. Bournemouth and Everton, top 6 defenses for expected goals conceded since November.
It's not
Bournemouth
wrong.
haven't lost a game since November. Everton have lost to Liverpool only once in the last 7 meetings at Goodison Park.
That is not wrong, but it's not about how they're playing. It's about the guy you pick and how many points he gets.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And as far as I'm concerned, Salah's ability to score a goal against those two teams is fine. Yep. It's not a bad matchup. It's not a great matchup. It's not a bad matchup. And that's all we need from him, right? I don't need him to blow up. I just need him to score a goal in in each of them. An assist in each of them would be great.
Ask Chris Wood how that went this week.
I'm just saying.
I know. No,
So,
I know.
All I say, I just don't think it's.
Right.
I don't think it's as bad as everybody's saying, and I like the idea of using that as a differential. So I'm 80% is probably not as generous as I should be
And I
in
am,
terms of where I am.
I am fully 50-50. I am Larry David between the Jewish deli and the Palestinian protesters on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Deep cut.
Wow.
Yeah,
no one knows what you're
everybody knows. Everybody knows the GIF though. Everybody knows.
Do they?
It's him it's him weighing 2 options. If you've seen that clip, if you've seen the thing, it's very funny.
All right.
Whatever.
I'm torn. I don't think I'm going to.
It really,
I don't think I'm going
is a
to.
hard decision.
All right, let's move. We've got a roll call of teams you wanted to cover, Brian.
Well, FPL Harry, top manager, top pundit, top content creator, however you want to look at it.
Top
whatever.
person.
Seems
what
like,
I care
Seems like a
about.
nice guy. Seems like a nice enough fella.
Harry, yeah.
FPL Harry asked the question. I'm sure. I mean, this is great for content, great for engagement. If you're not buying someone from Everton, Liverpool, Bournemouth, or Brentford this week, then who in the world are you buying? Was basically the question. Like the transfer target list got real narrow because of the double game week and because of the results. And so, yeah, really just kind of like a rundown through again.
Can we? All right, let's. I think we've already exhausted Everton and Liverpool.
No, I was going to say just for Everton, you got to say that Ndiaye scored again.
I know.
And he was on penalties.
And you saw what he did. He scored a penalty because Dominic Calvert-Lewin was not on the pitch because Dominic Calvert-Lewin was injured in 13 minutes. As of sometime
Another
after
reason why you shouldn't have gone to him, like I've been saying.
I don't know why anybody.
did?
I honestly don't know why.
hope
Lots
no
of
one.
people did.
I mean, I was saying it's possible that
Yeah.
Moyes figures it out.
1 to 2% of all managers in 1 week went to him. That's not a lot.
I was trying to do the math on that, and it didn't seem all that big.
Subbed off. Football Insider, among other places, just pulled the quote. But basically, David Moyes
Ian Rappaport?
confirmed that Calvert-Lewin's issue is with the hamstring and that the reaction, quote, was of genuine concern. They are actively, like all the other stories about how quickly they need to move to sign a striker and how they're in like talks with at least 2. But
One of them is
basically,
Marcus Rashford.
basically the point is that Ndiaye
It's
is
not.
now up to 3.1. It's probably not, right?
It's not. I was just kidding.
He wouldn't do it.
Why wouldn't he? Moyes is his buddy. Anyway,
And
sorry.
Ndiaye's still 5.4, has not gone up in price, is a popular
Is he a
transfer.
striker or
in-
midfielder?
Striker.
That's the thing. He's playing. He is playing. He's a forward.
But
we talked about it last
classified as a
week.
midfielder.
He's playing on the left. Beto is gonna
Yes.
is probably
He's playing
gonna
in on
take
the
the Calvert-Lewin role. So that's the thing. Are they a better? Does that help or hurt him? I have no idea. I don't think it really matters all that
Beto's a
much.
target man, so he's
Right.
just gonna knock stuff down. Maybe, I don't know.
It could help him if he's doing like either way. Now you assume he's on penalties,
Yeah.
and yeah, who knows if Beto can put the ball in the net more than Calvert-Lewin has this season, it definitely will help him. But whatever.
But would you
All right.
Beto on Beto?
I guess the question is, Dave. If you like, for me, I've got one transfer. I've got Raul Jimenez. Like, is that worth it?
Again,
Yeah, of course. My favorite thing about having him so far is that I had him like shortly after he started doing really good. Then he did terrible, and I held him, and I kept thinking like, oh, he's gonna. Don't worry, the numbers are there.
That's how it
and then he
is.
got benched or whatever. His price dropped
Classic.
0.2, and then I was like, I got to get rid of him.
Classic.
And then he goes crazy, and I get him back again. I'm like, no, I got to get him. And now I got him at 5.7, and now he dropped again. So now I've lost a total of
Classic.
0.3
Unbelievable.
on
Classic.
Raul Jimenez for no reason.
That is brutal.
It's stupid.
That is brutal.
Which,
All right.
by the way, I was 0.1. I would have the transfer if I had the money, my one transfer, I probably would have gone Sells to Pickford, but I was off by 0.1. So that's the thing. Like
Interesting.
Pickford is, if you can
I love
afford
that.
him,
Yeah.
why
No,
wouldn't
that's
you?
great. Yeah,
this week?
absolutely.
I already own him.
Just in general, yeah.
I had kept him on my wild card, but
And then for what it's worth for Everton, it was Branthwaite and Tarkowski who got your bonus points. So Branthwaite 2, Tarkowski 1. Not unexpected in a 1-0 game, but Ndiaye got the 3 bonus for scoring penalty, but whatever. I just want to throw those 2 guys out there.
both 4.8.
Right. Mikolenko clean sheet. I didn't see who started on the other side. Was it that same dude? That is a talk about a better podcast would know. Whatever.
O'Brien?
Is that who it is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it Patterson?
No, I don't think
Patterson
so.
usually plays.
Was
back
it O'Brien?
Yeah.
Jake O'Brien.
He started 2 in a row now then.
He has started 2 in a row.
Right. So then you might guess that he's
Jake O'Brien, 4.5.
and Jake O'Brien, that's 2 starts in a row over Ashley Young. So we said last week, can't get him.
Mm.
I think that
You were spot on
confirms it.
there, Brian.
It was a lucky guess.
Interesting.
All right.
Then Liverpool, look,
We've exhausted.
but Gakpo hauled.
Yeah.
Clean sheet wipeout, but Konate and Trent both get a assist, so they at least get you something.
Okay.
Trent, of course. My favorite thing about it was that he obliterated the bar, and you're thinking like, well, this is great because they're still going forward or whatever, and it's 4-0. What's Ipswich going? They're not going to get anything. That's who they were playing, right?
Yep.
And then
They did
clean
exactly
sheet
what I said.
wipeout was like 2 seconds like after that.
I
everyone
legitimately
ends with
said
a
that was going to
5.
happen. I legitimately said that was going to happen.
Well,
it was inevitable.
Because it went from a Trent like 12-pointer to a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's
sucks.
like plus like a
Hey,
whatever.
if you don't have Trent or any other Liverpool defense, some of us were cheering.
Yeah, I know. I would cheer getting a 2 instead of a 5. That's really
Why
great. No, but it was Gakpo, the obvious guy. Yeah, I think that was an obvious choice.
I was
It
loving
extremely
me
good.
some Gakpo this week.
Salah at least gets a goal, but hey, Szoboszlai on the score sheet again outscores Salah. This was also 3
pretty
weeks in
good.
a row now. He is in the last 3 games. No midfielder has attempted more shots than Szoboszlai. He's outshot Salah in the last 3 game weeks.
saying a lot.
So I just want to say again, I'm not sure what that means, but he did score. We said it last week.
He needed
I don't
to.
know if it means
And he
anything.
assisted. He turned into 13
Right.
fantasy
One
points.
of the best game weeks of anybody this week, and that's why I'm saying. Would you rather use one of your Liverpool spots in the double game week on Slot or Szoboszlai?
Szoboszlai.
Right?
Like I guess
not
I just
slot.
I just like feel like why would you do it? Whatever, maybe it'll work out. But whatever. It was a great game for him. The real selection dilemma comes with Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So Dango
think?
Utara, 21 points.
That's where I wanted to go to.
Right, goes for a hat trick. He's started every game but one since game week 16. He's playing as a forward.
He's playing as their striker.
Right.
He's playing
His
well.
first game playing as a striker, he drops a 21 with a hat trick.
against a defense that
Against the best defense
is
in the
a
league.
top defense.
Statistically,
Has been a top defense. Since game week 16.
wasn't he playing, wasn't he also kind of playing defense at some point for them? Like, who's this guy think he is? James Milner?
I think he was playing like a
wing back?
at some
Yeah,
point.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Early on.
Anyways, he's now their striker because of all the other injuries.
A 21 will give you a lot of points in one chunk. I don't know if you know that. That's a big,
Interesting.
a good analysis here.
Also, Kluivert
Well, I was going to say,
comes off a 22, his
Yeah.
own hat trick. I think he had a hat trick.
Yep.
And then he rolls into this week. Last week, I can't remember exactly what we said. If only there was a way we could know. I don't think anyone was clamoring for Kluivert. He turns in
Clamoring for Clever.
his last
There it
3
is.
weeks.
He found it.
Last 3 weeks, 8, 22, and 13.
yeah,
That is ridiculous.
he's almost better than Foden. Number 1 midfield transfer in again. He was high last week.
Kluivert's 5'7". It's a crappy price for me.
Did he go? He didn't go up again tonight.
Currently is a 5'7", so I'm guessing not.
Kluivert with another miracle game, scored a goal with his only shot on target with a total XG in the game of 0.18. Fantastic. Sam at FPL Sports Science on X says, Semenyo and Dango are both better picks than Kluivert, but more people are going to go with Kluivert because of his recent points. They are all great. There's not much in it. I just anticipate Kluivert going back to being subbed early now that Tavernier is back. I think that's debatable.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Whether or not Tavernier takes minutes off
possible
of one of the best informed players.
That Django Unchained could do it again? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
not drop
Yeah.
another hat trick.
Yeah, but he's definitely.
But-
So this is what I was going to say.
And it is against Liverpool this week.
You
He's
got-
not dropping a hat trick on
I wouldn't
Liverpool
worry
this
about
week.
that. I mean,
He's not
sa-
scoring a hat
have
trick
to.
on Liverpool.
He just has to score. He's
I'm
so
saying
cheap.
he started in every game but one since game week 16.
Yeah.
So if you go back to, let's go back to game week 16, 47 points for Utara since then. That's eighth best for midfielders. It's okay because 21 of that is this week. 22 shots, which is tied for sixth. Like by comparison, Semenyo, who has been at the top of that list, like basically Salah and Semenyo are 1-2 for the season for shots. Semenyo's attempted 27 shots.
And how many did Django have?
22. Oh. So I'm saying like you've got two Bournemouth attackers
shooting.
You have
Just
49
peppering.
shots from
shooting.
Two Bournemouth players in the last.
Would you guys rather
weeks.
have?
Here's your bigger thing. 10 shots on target, which is tied for sixth. 16 of his shots were in the box, so 16 of 22 in the box was tied for fifth.
Okay.
7 big chances to score since game week 16, tied for third with Brian Mbeumo.
Really?
Only Salah and Foden have more big chances since game week 16
than Django Unchained.
3.82 non-penalty XG since game week 16, second only to Mo Salah. He's higher than Foden, who's in third.
Really interesting.
44 touches in the opposition box, eighth most.
So you're buying.
I'm buying.
Where does Jacob Murphy rank in that? In other words, Jacob Murphy is 5'1", and Django's at 5'0". Like, that's actually a transfer that I could do.
That's a great question.
Like, I don't want to completely chase these points because I know he's coming off a hat trick.
Well, and that's what I was...
And I can't expect it to happen again. Although for my fifth midfielder spot, I'm not expecting that much anyways.
Yeah.
So the rest of my midfield is Palmer, Salah, Foden, and Diallo. So if I'm adding someone who's getting who's tied with Salah and what was it, Foden for big chances in the last 8 match weeks or 6 match weeks, whatever it was.
So Jacob Murphy, by comparison, 15 shots
to 20
since game week 16 compared to 22. 6 shots on target compared to 10. 10 shots in the box compared to 16 or whatever it was. 3 big chances compared to 7. Way lower XG. And then however you want to see that.
What's the difference on points though for that same period though, right? So that's obviously what he's doing. That's the Harvey Barnesing us. But what's from translating ultimately this game week is gonna throw Lautaro way.
But that's what I'm saying. In that same time, Jacob Murphy has scored 51 points.
Well,
so 51 fantasy points
against Leicester and Ipswich in 16 and 17. He had back-to-back 13s.
Right.
So a similar situation to what
So Jacob
happened,
Murphy,
except for Lautaro did it against the best defense in the
basically
league.
The same number of minutes. Actually, Dango's played 20 minutes more than Jacob Murphy has. Dango's got 4 goals. Murphy's got 3. Dango's got 2 FPL assists. Jacob Murphy's got 4. There's your difference.
So
two assists difference.
So Dave, you started saying something. Do I want to chase this? This all of those numbers tell me that this doesn't feel like this stupidity that was all those clean sheets that Ashley Young was getting, that we were like, no, we can't chase this. But it kept happening, right? This isn't that. This is reaping the rewards of all the stats, right?
The stats are there.
Yeah. I think like you might have a decision if you want to chase this. I think the reason why if you wanted to do it now, it's not. If you're doing it to get it now, if you're doing it to do it right this minute because you feel like you got to get the player, are you really that enthused about getting them for Liverpool at home this week? No. So if you're buying to bench, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be buying just to bench.
Here's the difference. It's Murphy's next 4 match weeks. Yeah. Newcastle's next 4 match weeks. Home Fulham.
It's okay.
At City, home Forest, at Liverpool. That's the next 4 match weeks.
It's not great.
That's a difficult stretch for Newcastle. Flip that over. Bournemouth's next 4. Home Liverpool, obviously hard. At Southampton, at home Wolves, at Brighton.
It's their schedule until April 5th. That's the reason why if you're buying Bournemouth, you're doubling. You can double, or honestly, you could triple up if you wanted to, because Southampton, Wolves, Brighton, Spurs, Brentford, Ipswich, West Ham, all of them, like after Liverpool, 25 to 31 are all. You play your attackers. You might even throw Kirkez in there.
I was going to say,
if you really
I want to discuss Kirkez. Would you rather have Kirkez over the next 4 match weeks or Lewis Hall?
Over the next
Why not
4, you'd
both?
rather have you could.
Kirkus.
Yeah, I'd rather have Kirkus.
Right?
If you're picking one or the other, yes, you're picking
Yeah.
Kirkus.
I mean-
If Lewis Hall, I think, are they the same price? Because I think Lewis Hall. No, because Lewis Hall is actually
4.9
Kirkus
and
is 4.9
Kirkus is a little cheaper.
and Hall is 5 is
5.1.
5.0.
If you had neither,
5-1 right now.
Okay,
right? If
for
you
me,
had,
okay.
if you had neither,
Same here.
and you're buying one, you're buying Kirkus right now. You're
Yeah.
not buying Lewis Hall.
But
In
what if
fact, if you wanted to, sure, sell Lewis Hall and get Kirkus.
I have 2
as your player.
transfers. It just feels awkward to go right to 2 Bournemouth players going into a Liverpool match when I might not even play them.
That's what I'm saying. So another, I'd say, I think it's funny. You guys don't have to think it's funny. Andy Martin, FPL tactician on X. Just a heads up to the 500,000 people. He's perfect. He's a perfect troll, by the way. Just a heads up to the 500,000 people that have bought Kluivert this week. He faces the best team in Europe this week in Liverpool, has a cup game away to Everton next week, and then is expecting his first child the week after that before game week 25. I'm sure you are aware, though.
That is some knowledge.
Good information.
I can't get to Kluivert. That's not on the list for me. But
by the
Django-
numbers, you should be going. Yeah, you should be going.
By the
to,
numbers, you should be going.
to Wild Tower.
You should be going. But if you
Here's the
if
other
you
thing.
just want the shooting numbers, you just go back to Semenyo, who also has turned in 3 pretty good games
All right.
here as well.
give that to you.
Semenyo is still playing well, and he's still cheaper than Kluivert is. He's 5.6.
right.
The old darling, now the kind of the forgotten man.
and he's coming off of a 9,
Right. He's still
5
scored.
before
He's
that, a
still
12
scored.
before that.
Right. He's it's fine. It's just that he's been outscored massively by Kluivert on a ton of penalties.
The other thing that I wanted to discuss was that Ouattara Django Unchained, his ownership is 0.08. It's not even a like Jacob Murphy, somewhat of a decent differential. His ownership is 4.9. So no one is owning Django. And
6.6 on Semenyo.
Yeah, if you wanted to, or
I guess I'm checking it out now on Fantasy Football Fix. Amazing site. We plug them often, and we should probably plug them every week.
try.
My concern is this: like his price doesn't look like it's going to be going up. So
Yeah.
not enough people have bought him. I think I'm gonna
No.
like
But-
the thought. Like if I don't make a transfer this week, I'm only sitting on 2 because I haven't transferred since my wild card.
Yeah.
If I can sit on a 3 going into the next week, it's like, oh man, okay.
Yeah.
Now, but because then that allows me to, if I want to play my manager chip, I can move some people around
Yeah.
to then create some money because at the moment my budget is 0.
like this week, another player that's a great sell, or that I think is a toss up, probably one you could justify if you need to make the move. This is why I wouldn't do it this week. Like Morgan Rogers, 5 point, for me he's worth 5.3. He's 5.6 right now, depending on how you bought him. That's between 0.3 and 0.6 difference from Morgan Rogers to Dango. Like that's sizable. Like that's a good savings. And what I'm saying is like, but why would I, like, for me, why would I do that when Villa's about to play Wolves and then they play Ipswich right after that?
Absolutely.
So
not.
like, what in the world? Why?
Yeah,
Like,
don't
are
do
you,
I agree.
are you
Don't
selling
do
him for that? The another one, I guess, like and then there's the money issue, like the trendy picks out. Like people are still selling Cole Palmer. Still, I mean, he's still a lot transferred out. Bruno Fernandes being transferred out a lot.
Palmer. Next, it's West Ham, at Brighton, at Villa, home Southampton, home Leicester. Why are you selling
No,
Palmer?
those are all extremely good.
Why in the heck are you selling Palmer?
It's just that he
2 weeks.
Yeah,
He's expensive, and he had 2
duds.
bad weeks. So
What's
Honestly,
the rule in this pod?
3.
3, and then you can think about it.
But it's a dip in form for a top player. That's the thing.
He
Like-
looked lost.
Salah.
He looked lost against City.
Oh no.
Did you watch that?
No. Did someone find him?
It wasn't anybody on the Chelsea team.
Someone, it looked like a barber found him because his haircut looked worse.
Oh no.
It looked
poor guy.
absolutely honestly,
listen,
it's one of the worst haircuts I've ever
I'm
seen.
pretty sure this guy is so humble. His mom still cuts his hair.
Bro.
And you know what? I applaud that if that's the case.
Was it Garnacho's barber?
That's terrible.
It's embarrassing.
No,
Bad.
he's
Yes,
he can do whatever he wants.
He's a stud.
He's a great player.
that's what Pep was telling him after the game.
Don't care. I made a mistake. That's what he told him. All right.
I'm surprised. I thought I was going to sort this by transfers out and see someone other than it goes Gordon, Palmer, Savino. Morgan Rogers is fourth most transferred out. Luis Diaz, despite the double game week, managers have spoken. They have had it. 75,000 managers saying goodbye to Luis Diaz ahead of a double game week. You surprised by that?
No.
Alex Iwobi, Amad Diallo. I am not really sure. 69,000 people have transferred out. Brian Mbumo
I don't own him.
going into this game week.
I don't own him, but I mean that's only because I sent him out for Foden.
Same.
I think I'm winning that battle, but it's closer.
I lost
it's
this
closer
week.
than I would want that to be.
Yeah, I did not. Yeah, because Bomo scored.
I know.
So did Foden, but
know.
And
I was gonna say
actually,
Foden scored.
I think it was it?
Oh no, I'm winning that. I just looked.
who'd you bring in?
Well, no, I mean on my
was just
wild card
1-1?
3 weeks ago, match week 22.
Oh, it was wild card. That's why. Yeah.
Played.
Oh,
at
you
20
got Foden's. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got
you
19
definitely
and
got
7 over the last
Yeah,
2
you
match
got that.
weeks.
that. Yep. I didn't get.
But yeah, he's outscoring Bumo in the last 2 match weeks.
Right, in
Right.
the last two, but I'm saying like now I'm not really sure why you're selling what you're selling Mbuemo now ahead of this run of fixtures. Like this is the fixtures weren't great. Selling him weeks ago was a kind of an obvious move. Like I brought him in this last week.
Right.
I actually
Yeah,
did.
the fixtures look juicy coming up.
Right. So selling him ahead of Spurs at home, I don't. What are you doing? Why are people doing that? I'm just saying. I thought I was going to see Bruno Fernandes higher on the transfer out list, and he's not. He's not in the top. He's not in the top like 12 or 15. So I'm surprised to see that. But I was going to say that's somebody that if you need to make up a lot of money, like. That I'm not sure how many people even have him. What's he at? 9.6. He's not even at 10%. Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like that was a guy for me where I'm like, do I want to do that? Do I want to go Bruno down to Dango? That's
Wow, that's a ton of money.
$3.3.
That is a ton of money.
Well, where am I going to put it? That's the biggest thing. Part of it goes to my assistant manager chip.
I was going to say
suppose.
you might want to save at least 1.5 for that.
Looks like Raul Jimenez is coming up a bit to, I don't know, some guy.
At Gakpo, you could get to
No,
Gakpo.
I got Gakpo.
Oh, okay.
So that was the thing. Gakpo came in last week.
It's not enough to get you to Holland.
No, that's the thing. So you gotta
shame.
You gotta shake up the whole. You gotta
All right,
shake up the whole thing.
We've made a couple of notes about price changes.
Oh.
I did want to correct something. Indai, who we've talked about at 5.4, he did go up tonight.
Oh, he went up.
She's at 5.5.
Good.
Pickford also went up from 5.0 to 5.1.
Oh, now he's really out of reach.
And I know we talked about Clivert, Kirkes, and Gakpo. Mikolenko a little bit too. All of those guys went up on the evening of the 26th.
Yeah, finally made back my 10th on losing all my money on Raul Jimenez.
Raul went down on the 27th.
Yeah,
down to 5.6.
5.6. Right.
Yeah.
No, the only other that's why I said if you're buying you're buying Brentford. If you want to buy someone, buy Brentford. Bumo, perfect example. Took the penalty, got a penalty, 7 points. Also, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Baker from one of those podcasts that people listen to and seem to like a lot. Figured out that he was Opta wrongly credited him with a missed big chance.
Oh wow!
Which was a big knock on his bonus points.
Oh,
it was incorrect. They deemed that the ball hit him or he missed or something, but the ball didn't actually even touch him. Somehow it glanced off of Tyrick Mitchell and then somehow but whatever. The point is that it wasn't in actuality was not a missed big chance from Bumo, but Opta credited it that way. So it was a hit to his bonus points, but because he played this on Sunday, there was no bonus point correction to
Because it was
fix
too
it.
late. Yeah, wow.
If he had played Saturday, he would have been worth 9.
wow.
And instead he was worth 7.
This is wild.
So it's one of those things where even in a week
It's almost
where
like he plays for the Chiefs.
I know.
Wow, good call there. This is not an NFL podcast.
Boomo, 4 shots this week, non-penalty XG of 0.79. I don't know if you know, that's quite good in a game where you already did score a penalty. So his
Interesting.
non-penalty XG was
Still
was
almost.
up near 1.
Does penalty count towards your XG? I don't think it does it?
No.
They factor him separately.
Did they?
So his
Okay.
total XG for
Non-penalty
his
XG.
total
Yeah, got
XG including penalties was almost 2. It was like 1.55 or something like that.
Eesh.
2 big chances this week. He probably should have had a massive game, but whatever. He didn't. He still finished with it. But the point is, he scored a penalty. That's why you get him. Yohan Wissa, I say, still a good option. This is he's playing a lot of minutes. That was one of the first things.
Vissa?
Yeah, 90 minutes in 6 of his last 7 games.
That's really
more
good.
than he usually.
Sure.
Like
He
he's
usually would sub out a
70.
little bit.
He's going to be real good for Wolves here soon. Or Forest.
had 3
Whoever's going
shots.
to pick him up.
Not for sale. 3 shots this week. Also had 1 big chance created. So even in this game, like Wissa's probably a little unlucky to come away with nothing.
Right.
Again, not probably like super high on the transfer list, but a guy who's been like, if you go back, no matter how many weeks, 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever, like he's been one of the top forward performers. It's basically him and Holland leading every meaningful and Isak, but basically those 3 guys leading most of like the underlying statistical things. So,
He did go up on the 25th as well. So,
so
there's that. So people are bringing him in.
yeah, he's just not one of those guys. I think everyone's like, oh, I gotta make sure we find a way to get Wissa in. He's 5th most transferred in.
Yeah.
More people transferring in Marmouche.
Wow.
He looked good.
All
He
right,
really
let's
did.
discuss City a little bit. Their recent run of form. Obviously, I already own Foden. He's coming off of, I'm pretty sure, an 8, 15, 19, and a 7. Actually, 6. He had a 6 against Leicester. So 5 match weeks in a row, fall down Phil has pointed, and I have gotten the last 2. Very happy about that. Foden's ownership, 8.5. That's why I love it.
Yeah, it's low.
It's extremely low. Yes, his price is 9.5.
And he's got a soft schedule coming up in Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool. So that's
He does not have a great schedule upcoming, but City always seems to figure out a way to get it done. This week, I own him. I'm benching him.
Wow.
I cannot root. I don't even want the consolation. I would rather weep if Arsenal turn in a dismal performance.
If
and
this
they
is
lose,
the week that makes you lose the league,
I'll
you will
just do
just
it.
hold
I
your
will-
head up high
was
and
gonna
say,
say, it'll just make-
congratulations, Elliot.
It'll just make the season story better at the end, like the championship recap. It'll be even more dramatic.
Mark, I can't do it. I'm benching him. I'm starting Gabriel. They're going to get a clean sheet, and I'm benching Foden.
That's
It'd be amazing if they do.
interesting.
In our now weekly segment, now is Haaland back? Is Haaland back again?
Does it?
now?
It's the same story as before. It doesn't matter if he's back because he's never going to score enough to justify his price.
I don't know.
Now there was a span
he
of a
scored
couple weeks.
He scored a
early on.
12.
8, 13, 2, 6, 12, his last 5 match weeks.
I mean,
Well,
that's,
with the way that some of the forwards are dropping off, like Chris Wood,
Their
like
upcoming
Cunha,
schedule, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool,
I won't necessarily
Spurs,
eat my words, but
Forest.
I will give that to you.
Now, again, Spurs is lower in the table than normal Spurs, but for whatever reason, Spurs always seem to play City really tough. And it's at Spurs. So they're at Arsenal, home Newcastle, home Liverpool, at Spurs, at Forest. 3 out of the next 5 match weeks. Tougher and or very tough matches.
It's not tougher though.
3 out of 5.
It's
and
not tougher.
they're playing Liverpool at home. Good luck with that.
No, and it's not tougher. And here's why.
It's not tougher.
The issue with City right now is dealing with the low block. When teams throw bodies in front of the goal, they are having a hard time moving the ball enough to move the defense and organize the defense and score, right? When teams play them open and back and forth and are actually, trying to score on them instead of keep them from scoring, they're finding ways to score.
Well, they beat Leicester, probably put on a low block 2-0. They beat West Ham, probably put on a low block 4-1.
Again, I don't think they did.
They drew with Brentford. We know Brentford went at them. Ipswich put on a low block, maybe.
Yeah, but they blew it, though.
Low.
They blew that game.
6-0.
They were up 2-2. They were up 2-0.
In the Brentford match. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because Pep was he was restraining himself from physically slapping Stefan Ortega at the end.
Yeah.
That's right. Or that was Ortega's.
It was not Ederson.
In fairness, Travis, they Chelsea obviously played with him and they beat Chelsea 3-1, but it was Sanchez's worst game of his life, probably, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, hold
on. I also want to say this. It's just shocking. Haaland's ownership, I think, to start the season or within the first couple of match weeks was up to 80%, correct? Yeah. It is down to 28.5%.
Yeah, he's at 28%.
It's still really high.
Compared to 80,
I mean,
that's what's just wild. Has his price dropped? He started the season, I think, at 14.5. It's still at 14.7.
Yeah.
To drop that percentage points, it should be under. It should be way lower than that. To drop that much. Anyways, again, who knows how that actually works? Doesn't seem right.
What I was going to say is that he was at 15. He started at 15.
He did?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I thought, okay, in my face.
He had gone up to 15.4 at his
Okay.
match.
Because nobody had him at the beginning because he was so expensive.
In my
then
face.
he went wild and it went up.
What I was going to say is that when he was doing really well, obviously he was extremely popular regardless of how expensive he was, because he went up actually 0.4 over $15, which is crazy. And I'm saying that the numbers never stopped, the goals did. So the numbers were always the same. And I'm saying now it's 5 games in a row where the numbers are back again, including 2 double digits.
The goals are back, yeah.
18 shots in the last 5 games. So in that 8, 13, 2, 6, 12, like in that last 5 game run, 18 shots, second only to Wissa. Wissa has 20. 13 shots on target, which is number 1 of all players. So 13 on target. That's great. 17 shots in the box, number 1 for forwards. 8 big chances, tied for first with Wissa. 30 touches in the opposition box, tied for number 1. Like, he's back to what he... Plus, he has 8 chances created. Only Cody Gakpo has done more than that. So I'm just saying, like, he's going to score a brace against Arsenal, and we're going to come back here next week, and we're going to say the same thing again. Like, is he back? I was like, I don't know. He's not
scoring a brace against Arsenal.
He's at 27.9% after his brace against Arsenal. So, 114,000 transfers in for Marmoush. 15,000.
Marmoush is interesting. He came right in the starting lineup.
15,000 transfers
in. He
in
looked
for
pretty dangerous.
He did.
He looked really. Are you considering going for him?
No, I don't have the money for it. I either need to add 0.2 to Raul Jimenez or bank.
Yeah, I have 2 5-point blank midfielders. That and my other ones are Salah, Palmer, and Foden.
Right.
I would have to make a move for one of those because he is listed as a midfielder, correct? I should have looked.
Haaland's a forward. No, Marmoush is a forward.
Oh, he is listed as a forward.
Yeah, he is a forward.
Oh, I don't want to City. Oh, no, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I test immediately. Gvardiol had an 8 this week. Another outstanding.
He's their second best offensive outputter.
I was going to say, not to mention, he was a breath away from an amazing goal.
Yeah,
agree.
It was very good.
Agree.
It was very close to not being offsides. Yeah.
I don't know that you're buying. You're not buying him going into this stretch. I still don't know how I don't know how convincing they are defensively.
I bet he gets a goal in one of those games.
He might.
Not Arsenal.
He's as big of a goal threat as anyone. He's probably more
on City
no
or
of
anyone.
I'm
Or
saying
all
definitely
defenders.
of all defenders. More of a goal threat than any center back on headers. The only team you could compare it to is Arsenal set piece.
Yeah,
And even then that's one guy.
right.
So it really is Gabriel on set pieces specifically, or the full game of Gvardiol, also the most reliable starter for Manchester City.
That's true. Yaska.
So that's the thing. I don't hate the choice. It's just expensive. Maybe after
5'9".
maybe after the run is over, like after this double game week or whatever. Who does Liverpool play after the double? Isn't it someone good? They play Wolves or something.
Yeah, I think it's Wolves. It is, Wolves.
Maybe after the Wolves game, like I'll throw Trent away, because by then you'll get through some of those.
City,
You'll get
yeah.
through those bad matchups for City, and then get into
Newcastle,
something a little easier.
Southampton, yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's a move. There's some money to make up, but either way,
All right.
just to say, like, your main guys for Manchester City, like you've shrunk it down again. Like it's Haaland, Foden, Gvardiol, and then if you really, how adventurous do you feel? New boy Marmoush.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting player for
Dave,
sure.
you want to talk about your team? We never really
Do we?
talk about them anymore. The reason why I wanted to talk about City more than them was because you had Haaland on double digits. You had
Right.
Foden get another return. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I know.
legit. Despite the bad on paper, they still are producing. Arsenal got a good result this week.
Barely, but they did get a good result. Are they suffering from their number 8 not being there?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, is that
Of course.
he's not back?
No.
So is that going to continue?
Yeah. I tell you what, Michael Oliver continues to continue. In 50 matches against City, he's given 0 red cards to City. In 55 matches against Arsenal, he's given 8. 8.
Well, let's just be honest. Arsenal doesn't need Michael Oliver to give red cards because they get them from everybody.
It seems like they get him from. I mean, let's be honest. Everyone saw what happened this.
And
week.
also, you got to remember that
insanity.
Granit Xhaka was on your team for a long time too. So
I'll show you something in a second.
It's insane what happened. I know. Look, you can. It can. There might be one photoshopped picture that makes it seem like Skelly should have gotten that red card, but that is crazy.
yeah,
Will it get
it was a
overturned?
weird one. It did.
It might.
No, it's already done.
Oh, it did get overturned?
It did get overturned.
Yeah, it's already
Oh,
done.
Okay.
He is immediately available. His
Oh,
ban
good.
has
Good
been
news. I did
overturned
not know that.
as of today.
That's fair. It should have happened, and thankfully it didn't. You know, but that it almost makes it worse when that happens because in the game they were down to 9 to 10 for a while, and yes, Wolves end up getting a red card as well. But
Double yellow, yeah.
it just you can rescind the red card, but you can't change the game. And it just feels like VAR should have done a better job. I get it, Oliver, in the moment. Bad angle. Maybe he did think it. He gives it. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. That's what VAR is there for. Look at it.
Is
Have
it?
4 people there to change it. If it's egregious, if it's enough for them to change it on appeal, then VAR should have picked it up.
I don't disagree, but I also don't feel sorry for you
Oh, well, that's fair.
Dave-
I don't blame you. There.
because we got the raw end of the deal too.
Dave Shady, you can find him at Foden Prime on X.
Big Arsenal fan.
I
I'm
bet
sure.
you can tell what team he supports. Shady would like to know, why is this not being talked about? And it's Ederson has 2 assists this season, and Martin Odegaard has 2 assists this season.
Very witty.
This season.
Very witty.
It's pretty funny.
That is, I appreciate that.
Even
That's excellent.
That's
Right.
like
Kudos.
that's almost as good as the Washington Commanders going out and
Hey.
saying, "Hey, our punter has more passing yards than Dak Prescott in the postseason."
No.
Wow.
Yeah,
Love
that's
that.
funny.
Oh my gosh. No, look. Yes, that's true.
I guess that. I mean,
What-
I mean, regardless. I mean, it's not apples to apples.
This is what
purely on the statistical side of it, but that Martin Odegaard only has 2 assists this season.
So think about that. Odegaard, now he's missed some games still.
Decent amount, yeah.
But still, he's played enough. He should have more than that. Saka's missed a bunch of games, and yet we're still second in the table. Maybe not for long. Who knows? But we're still there. I don't know if it's a title race. Well, we're kind of close. If Liverpool slips up, it's going to take 2 slips for them to slip up. But we're kind of close. So who knows, man?
Well, game in hand as well. So we'll know after this game week. Right?
Well, we won't know until February the 12th.
Right?
But
well,
still.
And Liverpool's going to play 4 games in that time, which is insane.
What?
Right? Because they're going to play their first match week, their 2 cup games, and then their second game of the match week.
Oh, my gosh.
And, yeah, it's wild. And that's after they play tomorrow in Champions League. So they have Champions League.
Right.
Then they have match, 2
cup
Premier
matches.
League. No, so they have Champions League, Premier League, 2 cup matches, and then their second Premier
Oh,
League.
my
And
goodness.
for this game week, it's intense. So, yeah, it's gonna be real interesting.
I own one Arsenal player. I mean, I own Gabriel, and maybe that's
You
stupid.
didn't react to the YouTube short I sent you.
No.
It was just a silly reenactment of just basically Gabriel scoring every header that comes across, and that being Arteta's favorite thing to do is to find ways to get Gabriel headers because he scores. Why not? So
Yeah. So I don't know. I just hope we win this weekend. Like it doesn't have to be a killing. I just let's play the game with 11 on 11,
yeah.
even though we're playing without Saka. But whatever. That's football. So can we get a result without our top guy? So
At home, you better.
I hope so. They've had this match circled since we were ahead of them at their place and got red carded. And all of a sudden it was, Holland hits the last goal in for the draw. So they were happy to get a draw against 10 men. Good job, City.
All right, it's getting late. I need to go to the
Yep.
store and get some Oreos or something Post Malone. What
right.
what moves are we making, guys?
I'll go first. I think I have decided I am not going to make a transfer this week. I am rolling out Pickford, Gabriel, Milenkovic, Lewis Hall, Palmer, Diallo, Jacob Murphy, Mo Salah, Isak Gakpo, and Chris Wood. And I am captaining Mr. Mo Salah. My options on the bench, Munoz with Palace at United, Foden at Arsenal, and Robinson at Newcastle with the number 1, Matt Sells. Home to Brighton, which I would love to start him, especially after this past week. But, Pickford's got the double.
You got to. Why not Munoz?
Because I have Diallo. So it's like, is Diallo going to score home on Palace, or is Palace going to hold a clean sheet?
He scored last week.
United.
You don't even need a clean sheet. United's going to leak. They're going to leak something.
They might leak. He had an assist last week. I just don't. Yeah, so I just don't like playing. Like if I play both, it's just a neutral.
Yep.
It's a lose-lose. So I just kind of hedging. I'm just leaning one direction, going with Diallo and seeing what happens. And look, Diallo didn't point in the last 2 weeks, but before that, it was coming off a 9 and a 20. So
yeah,
hopefully he'll be ready to go. And he did score the winner against Arsenal in the FA Cup a few weeks ago.
Good clutch streak to him. Brian, what do you got going?
I don't have enough money to do anything that matters this week, and I kind of already have the team. I mean, it's
where you want to be.
Kind of where I was heading into this. The only thing I wanted, if I was going to do anything, it was going to be a goalkeeper transfer, which I already hate doing that anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I got triple Liverpool. I'm on Mikolenko from a long time ago. So
Okay.
I've got my doublers. The only thing I could do is it could be Raul 2 and die. And even then, I don't want to do the transfer because, again, if I want to do any of these other moves to players that I think are advantageous beyond this. I mean, he's could be fine. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I think it could roll on after that.
What I will probably do is I'll have 3 transfers for next week. If Bournemouth wasn't playing Liverpool this match week, I would move in a Bournemouth player, if not 2. And it would be Ouattara and or Kirkes. I legit with their upcoming schedule after Liverpool, it just seems like
I mean,
and the way they've been playing. So
honestly,
so I'm not going to make a move this week, but if I was going to, it would be those guys, and or I might bring them both in next week. Also, I need to figure out a way to make money to keep at least 1.1 or 1.5 available for an assistant manager whenever I decide to play that. Having that extra bank available is going to be necessary.
Yeah, I had not considered now. I see that Anthony Gordon is a top transfer out. Isak's not going to be just because of how important he is. But seeing the schedule, I understand why. Selling Lewis Hall, it makes sense. I mean, I can understand the move away from Lewis Hall. I mean, I don't know how you guys are. Benching headache or whatever this week. I mean, I feel like it's the same thing. Fulham is playing Newcastle. So if you've got Anthony Robinson and Lewis Hall, I don't like it for either guy, to be honest. So I got to bench somebody there. I've got Bruno Fernandes. I've got Daniel Munoz. I don't love it for either guy. Like Munoz, this week, they got scored on, they got scored on twice. Munoz assists the goal at the end. So he bails out everybody with at least gets you a 4.
Yep.
So it could have been worse for Munoz. At least he gets you something. But this week at Manchester United, I don't know. Just not I just have and then Raul Jimenez, like I said, still kind of sitting there. So that's the thing. I'm I'd have to bench. Who am I benching? It's benching Lewis Hall. It'd be benching Bruno Fernandes. It'd be benching Morgan Rogers. And there's not anything I don't know. There's nothing crazy appealing about any move that I can make compared to the players I already have.
Just bank it.
Feels like a bank. So
captaining, or the only other thing, you're captaining Salah, you were considering 50-50 triple captaining Salah.
Yeah, I think that's the only real debate. Although, again, this week, if you went off of Captain Salah, something I would just say, just on form, Salah is he's crushing. He's crushing the season. Stats, great. He's second for shots in the last 4 game weeks. He's second for chances created. So it's 16 shots, 14 chances created. No one else has that. No one is on that kind of volume.
That much, yeah.
And so that's the thing with him, where it's maybe it's not a goal. Maybe it's 2 assists against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a goal and an assist against Everton.
Hopefully.
That's the thing. The debate is raging. The pro and con of captain versus triple captain Salah, totally understandable. Lots of seems want to make the case no, these defenses are really good, and it's I don't know. They are.
I know.
They've been awesome at home. Bournemouth awesome at home. I get it. It's a derby. It's still Salah in his season. This is the Salah season. So that's the part where I'm
his final season.
Again, a 9 and a 9, and all of a sudden a triple captain
feels really
a lot better than it did before.
All right, Travis.
I made 2 moves on the pod.
Whoa!
Yeah, on the pod moves.
I moved Cunha out, brought Gakpo in.
Okay.
I don't love that move, but I feel like hitting on a double game week is fine.
Future up in the air Cunha for the next 4 or 5 days.
Right.
And you're bringing in an on-fire Gakpo.
It's fine. And
you just don't like Gakpo.
I do like Gakpo. I think Gakpo is going to be a casualty to rotation because of the heavy fixture congestion.
All right.
At some stage, the question is when, and I'm a little bit worried about that.
Okay.
That said, I brought him in. Hopefully, he plays double game week. He plays both of them. Great, awesome. But I also moved out. I had moved from Gordon to Guimaraes.
Okay.
So that I could get Foden for
Bumo.
Yeah, but so I moved Guimaraes out and brought Lautaro in.
Okay.
Are you playing him? Or are you just doing it before a price change?
I'm trying to get ahead of a price change, but I had him in and I just swapped him for Rodgers. So I'm either going to play him or Rodgers.
So he might play. You feel kind of like you'd rather have him.
Well, honestly, what I wanted to do is I was $1 off of bringing Semenyo in. I really wanted Semenyo, not Ouattara. Truthfully,
Really?
Yeah, I think Semenyo would have been the better pick. But that's part of the reason why I'm benching him, because I kind of feel like I got my
Semenyo
second
is coming
pick.
off a 12, 5, and a 9.
Yeah. So all that to say, those are my two moves, and I do have my triple captain active currently.
Wow.
I think I'm going to leave it.
Okay.
I don't see myself changing that.
Okay. Wow. Here we go.
I'm reaching. I'm not doing
I don't know.
well.
There's a lot of pundits out there that would say that's not reaching.
I think it's worth a punt. So
Okay.
I'm making a run at it.
All right. You know who's in front of you. You got to catch him.
Wait, would you say
it's
yes
Brian.
or no to? Would you say yes or no to Luis Diaz?
I think Diaz is going to get minutes. The question is, where is he going to get minutes? And the better Darwin plays, the less opportunity that Diaz has to play in the 9, which means that they're going to be more willing probably to pull Gakpo to give him a rest and throw Diaz in on the left.
So I think that's a long answer of no. He would not consider.
So I just there's too much up in the air on that one. Darwin's not playing great. Diaz has been playing up front, but Darwin's playing tomorrow. Like he traveled. I don't think Diaz did. So as far as I'm concerned, if Darwin scores a goal or two, which is possible against PSV, maybe he gets a decent run and Diaz doesn't have to play in an unfamiliar position that he isn't really doing great at right now. So I don't think Diaz is a great pick right now. Doesn't mean he can't score, but I don't think it's a good pick right now.
Boom. All right, that's it. Gentlemen, well done. Crushed the pod. Talked about as much as we could, discussing the
stuff.
chips and the assistant manager chip, along with triple captaining this week. I think we covered about everything we could. For the FPL America podcast, this is David Smith. Until next time.